What's up, dog?
Hey,
How's it going, man? It's good to have you in town.
No, I know it's amazing to be here. I feel like it's so good to see. Like every time I see it, even today, just like walking around, I was like, back into the old saddle again.
Yeah. It's weird because it's like, I mean, we were good friends in Philly, and then I feel like, you're one of the people who I was seeing regularly before I moved. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Well, I take it back. Quarantine happened first, and then, yeah.
Right. And we kept in moderate contact during that, but like
That's right.
I remember because right before quarantine, I remember that was a big jump was because you met my family and Liam met my family, and I was like, everybody, like, here it comes. We're a community now. And then
I went to your house for a big Shabbat dinner
party.
thing.
Yeah, it was. It was just a party. I don't even know if it was for Shabbat.
It was some Jewish event.
They
did the candles of something.
It was called.
We said a prayer.
It was called like Shabbat Hagadol. My mom calls it.
What's the Hagadol? What's that part?
Hagadol is like the big Shabbat is what it means.
Oh, cool.
So it was just like invite everybody. That was an insane day because you met my parents, Liam met my parents, my girlfriend's parents met my parents.
Oh, they were there too.
Incredible.
Oh, that's fun.
It was really a nice day. That was such a lovely time.
And just to introduce, this is
please.
David Feinberg, a good old friend from the Philly comedy scene. And also part of the alt scene diaspora in a sense. He's moved to Chicago and I moved to New York.
Yeah.
And now we're reunited at long last.
Finally, to make some audio magic.
Kind of since like late 2019, early 2020. Well, I did right before the pandemic. We were just saying I did your show at that like children's preschool.
Yeah, well,
it was all Jewish 4-year-olds.
Yeah,
I did my got your nose and you keep pulling for 5 minutes. Sorry,
I pulled ribbons tied together out of my pocket for several hours. And it was I have a really good picture from that because Betty Smithsonian was in the back. And they had sinks that they had a little thing that you could stand on. And Betty stood on the stool and washed her hands like low into the sink. I know it's hard for an audio-only podcast to describe a physical bit.
An adult washing their hands in like a
tall adult washing their hands in a silly way.
I like
Very funny.
It was it wasn't actually for children. It was but it was a
just
children's preschool space.
We should definitely clarify. They weren't like, hey, what's up with smoking cigarettes, kids? Huh? You buy one pack? I don't know. Yeah, that was a great show.
It's funny because the green room was like a
nothing
preschool kitchen.
Oh yeah, we were just we were just in the back of a room. But that I do remember that was like one of those shows where there's a few shows that I recall like right before COVID, and then we had one right after COVID. These are all wonderful things. I wrote a lot of these down in my journal. Like I journal every day. And there are days that I'm like, this was such a lovely day. And then I put a little star next to it. And two big ones have been with you.
Oh,
so that was one of them. That show that we did at the preschool space.
We tried to guess the other one.
Yeah. Try to get. Well, the other one was the only other show that we've done together since
the one we drove out to Downington.
It was at the Grape Room.
Oh, okay.
When did we drive out to Downington?
You gave me a ride all the way out to do that show.
Yes, that was the cave spin-off show that was in that attic.
That's to me that's a lovely memory.
That was
spending
a
an hour or
wonderful
two in the
day.
car with you.
Yeah. That was really fun.
But it's not that one. You don't have a star next to that.
No, that
was kind of a nightmare for you in the car there.
When I think about it, it was one of the worst days. I would rather have glass
you have a
shoved
demerit
into my
next
eyes.
to that. Yeah. Do you put a demerit next to the days that you don't like? Is that?
I black them out like letters from a soldier back to his home.
What's that thing?
Explaining where the locations
Teddy
are.
Roosevelt. You do the 2 X's.
Yeah,
the light
has
gone
out
from
my life. Damn, we're doing some in-depth niche historical sad boy content.
Wait, what's the other one? The other one you said.
The other one was
another show.
Well, there was one. There was a show. There was a show at the Grape Room, and that was like because you and I were like because you had a very intense quarantine, and you were in the house.
Right at the very end.
And then I met up with you, and we spent a lot of the afternoon writing, and then we went and. We were just like sitting at your house and stuff. It was so fun. And then we did the show at the Grape Room, and I love outdoor comedy when you get to go outside, and they had all these benches set up and stuff. It was so wonderful.
Oh yeah.
And then we had I just remember it was you and Seamus Millar and all these people, and Liam was there, and it was one of those shows where like first off there were a few like younger comics and they were just trying it out, and then I got up there and I was like, bam, you hit the ball off the tee, wham, and then Liam went up, wham, and then you went up, bang, and we had it was such a lovely evening.
It was great, yeah.
And I have this memory of all of us drinking beer and laughing in the street. Oh, it was wonderful.
I have the same memory.
It was gorgeous. It was
I guess,
a gorgeous night.
For me, I mean, my quarantine was intense. So that was the first show I did out of quarantine, as well as my last Philly show.
Yes.
For me, that was like between getting fully vaccinated and moving. For me, it was 2 weeks.
Wow.
2 week period. And so that was within that 2 week period of just like, all right, one last hurrah, and I'm just like, hey everybody, by the way, I'm leaving.
Right. Goodbye. What an evening.
Yeah.
And that's like I was they weren't playing. I was at a wedding yesterday, and they weren't playing like a Vitamin C like as we go, but it was of that ilk. And I was making a joke with people. I was like, oh, this is like where everybody at the wedding like starts to walk away and they fade, and then the voice comes over the top that's like, Benny Feldman moved to New York. He was a good man. And did like that kind of thing. That show has that those memories have that music behind it to me. Just like a joyous evening, light, beautiful, crisp air.
And then it's like, so-and-so went to Chicago, so-and-so went to L.A.,
I think
et cetera.
that might have been one of my final shows in Philly, too. Yeah.
Damn.
Strange to think.
How soon did you move to Chicago? I remember it was pretty quick, like a few months after.
When was that? That must have been like a May or something?
Yeah, because I moved June 6th to 2021.
Oh, okay. So if that was in June, and then
late May. Fuck.
So if it was June-ish, and I moved pretty shortly after, because I moved June 12th.
Oh, damn.
Yeah.
So you must have been like one or one other show.
Yeah, maybe. If we're being generous. Yeah, it was because I moved up there. I remember it was like a Friday, and then Saturday was the actual moving.
Oh, sure.
Sunday, the unpacking. And Monday, I started a new job that Monday.
No.
It was insane.
Like, quarantine ends, and there's like I just felt it was such night and day. Like,
oh my
to be,
God,
I mean, like, locked in a house for like a year and a half, truly. Like, like, I mean, I've talked about this a little bit before, but like, I was not able to like leave. And so then, to like suddenly be in New York City, and like for you, Chicago. I don't know how. I would love to hear more about the Chicago scene. I know I've talked about it off mic, but I think that's something that would interest
for sure
the viewers at home.
Well,
or maybe not. I don't know. Maybe you guys want to hear about journaling.
Yeah, you want to.
Which I do actually want to hear about journaling.
Yeah, I do like to talk to people about journaling. Like
we'll do both.
You journal as well.
No.
Do you? No.
No. I've tried a few times, and every time I feel I don't know. I feel performative.
Pressure to perform.
Or, and I like what I ended up journaling was like the way I feel like I'm writing this right now is for somebody to
read it when
read
you're
it,
dead.
and I'm like, and I don't want to be
someone
doing
to blow
that.
the dust off the cover of it and be like, old Grandpa Benny.
So what I do instead is I keep like lists of things, and I keep timelines, and I'm like, okay, like this period of my life, that was this era or whatever. And I like to chunk it that way, but I don't keep journal. But why do you journal?
No, I definitely respect that, and I remember. So I don't know if you remember that, but I broke my wrist right at the beginning of.
That's how hard you journaled?
2020. That's how hard I journal. I went too hard in the paint, dude. I was riding my bike in Philly, and I got hit by a car, and I fell off, and I had this like terrible impound fracture. You could see it. I don't know if people at home could see it, but like you could see there's that line there. So that's like. They reconstructed my wrist. I'm the $6 million Jew. Anyway, I had this fracture, and so I couldn't write for like weeks on end. And I was doing video journals, and I felt like that was a lot better. And I would like to go back to it, but it just takes. I have no way to like store it all. You know,
right?
So I just a composition book, and I don't do it every day. You know.
Can I ask what do you have? Do you have the star marker for specifically like days
for just wonderful days?
Do you have other markers?
I used to do one for days that I meditated, and I would have an empty circle for days that I didn't meditate, and a filled in circle for days that I did. And then I was like, this is too much pressure. Like I don't want to. I never want to associate meditation negatively.
Right.
And I think that is something where it's like at the end of the day, it's like, oh, I feel like a disappointment if I don't fill in this
sort of self-shame thing.
That's awful.
Yeah.
And so I stopped.
How much are you writing?
That's actually an interesting. So I back like when we knew each other in Philly, and you were a constant source in my life of being like, you must write, and I was like, yeah, whatever. Like, you don't know nothing, old man. And
I guess I don't mean comedy. I mean journaling. I guess how much are you writing in terms of like?
That's a totally different.
Yeah. Like, are you writing like 2 sentences or like a page and a half?
It really depends on the day. Sometimes I'll write a fucking like 2 pages of just continuous Jack Kerouac style. Just like constantly shooting it out.
You're kind of like the Allen Ginsberg of comedy.
God, I hope not. Boy, that would be deeply inaccessible to people. And sometimes I'll just write like nice day, bike ride, like small detail stuff. There was a book that I really liked in college of all of Virginia Woolf's journals, but that also is like, it feels so personal, like to read through. I just did a bit about this the other day where I was thinking about this, about like reading other people's journals. And I did a bit where I pretended that I did Pappy Feinberg's Chicago Fire Journal, which was that I was reading about. And basically it like goes into like monstrous detail about him like getting a foot job from his wife. It's like you really shouldn't read people's journals. Right. But I really do. I think I feel that same thing of sometimes there's a performative aspect of like, down the line who will see this like Mark Twain, like his biography was like to be released 100 years after his death.
Damn.
Yeah. And then like it's the most self-centered thing in the world, but it's like to be like,
you kind of want it though.
God, like, what if somebody reads like, you know what, like you know about James Joyce? Have you ever read the Dirty Letters? James Joyce. And I worry about that because for a while it would be like masturbated, farting, like all this stuff, like deep grossness. And now it's a little more tame. I like to think life is
took a lactate.
Yeah,
2 lactates, not enough.
PBS,
3 lactates, not enough. I like the idea of writing. Went for a bike ride. Like I think maybe you'll try it again. I actually have a. Okay, so check this out. I have this like journal that I bought. Just because I really liked the cover of it. This is like this cool thingamajig. Take a look, but it's not how I. Hold on.
Did you write anything in here?
Let me make sure. I think I have nothing in there. Literally, I have nothing in there. I think it shows my phone number. I don't want to show my phone number to the camera. Hope I didn't already. But yeah, literally, there's nothing. But I did write some stuff and then immediately tear it out. Don't show the phone number to the camera.
No, I won't. You know what? I will admit that this does look like
the cover's awesome.
It looks like a little bit though like the book from the Evil Dead. I think it's called the Necronomicon.
Yeah. Back. You like read out of it and they come to life.
Hey, you didn't write all this stuff in blood in the back, did you? The weather starts to change, like you see the apartment get dark.
But yeah, man, anytime I've tried to do like a physical, even writing for jokes, that usually it's like just a temporary piece of paper. Right. I transfer it to digital. Have you transferred any of this to digital, or is that something you wouldn't want to? Like, what if you lost a journal? Right. What if you lost it?
No, I. Funny enough, I had like an exercise in losing things the other day. I got a...
You lost something?
Yes. The end. And no, I lost this water bottle that I really liked, and I might find it again. If anybody listening to the podcast is in Chicago, you see a Adult Swim Festival water bottle, please return it to me. But lost it after a show. And I was so... You ever get to a point where you're nervous that you're going to be worried? Like your nervousness is about your worry and like you're anxious. But I feel like, I mean, you as someone who meditates, like you start to experience emotions underneath, like you experience away from your emotions a little bit. Not that you're separated from emotions, but you realize them in a temporary state of being. And also like I do feel something very nice about detachment from physical things. Like, and so like I got this water. This is just a ragu jar that I washed out and now I drink water out of. And some people like they gave me like guff about it, and I was like, it's fine. It's just vessels.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
But that's the thing is like
a buddy of mine's a vessel. Sorry, for poop and cum.
Yeah. Don't tell them. Don't name a name. They like,
isn't that crazy? Food goes in.
Food goes in. And
poop and cum comes out.
We're squirting out of all holes, unless we're intaking.
Squirting on all cylinders.
When you think about it, you do squirt out all holes a little bit. Ugh.
Oh yeah,
just a bunch of holes. You're like SpongeBob.
Yeah, I'm a squirter.
You're like a tight SpongeBob. I'm a squirter of all holes. Yeah.
Every hole in SpongeBob is a cloaca.
Yeah,
like he can piss and come and get impregnated and fuck it like out of every hole.
It's his last defense, like a squid going ink. No, SpongeBob don't.
What is? See, no. Okay, just had the thought. When squid's ink, it's not ink. It's like black goop. Like
Are
it's
you
not like
sure?
It's not like printer ink.
No, it's not printer ink. No
It's
one's
like-
accusing you of being printer ink.
It's got to be.
But it might be ink.
Of what? But like, in what capacity is it ink? Like, I'm not going to write with a
Actually,
pen on that. You know what I mean?
well,
It's some
maybe-
sort of black cloud of goop.
Yeah, that is an interesting.
Like, it's not like when they say ink. I think it just looks like ink.
I guess so.
It's got to. I like. Does it smell bad? Like, why? Like, it's got to be
Well,
like.
I thought it was
hazardous.
as a diversionary factor, so that they could like change direction and things like
Totally,
that.
totally,
But
totally.
does
The smoke
does
cloud
it
factory.
Smell like something?
Is it
very
acidic? Is there any
interesting.
sort of element that it's like?
Yeah. Have you ever,
You know.
about like you're into like entomology and stuff like
Yes,
that,
sir.
right? Do you ever? I just learned about whip scorpions.
No.
When they shoot, they have they shoot basically what is vinegar out of this like butt stock that they have.
Oh sure.
And it's of such a high pH that it's like deeply acidic. I don't remember if it's up in pH or down in pH, where it's basic or acidic.
Down.
Down is acidic. So it's such a low pH, I suppose. That
Yeah, like
they
1 or
whip
2
it,
would be like a really.
and it
acidic.
like hits animals in the face. They're like, "Fuck!" Like,
Hell yeah.
The animals are so startled that they learn how to speak English, and then when they say "fuck," they go, "Fuck! God damn it! Ugh!" I was on my way to get printer ink and twine.
Yeah, the fucking squid uses its ink. It's like, do you know how fucking expensive that was? Oh, by the way, we have the same soda.
Yeah. Today's episode is sponsored by Birch Beer at the bodega near
bodega.
Benny's house.
That's right.
Yummy.
Go to the bodega near my house and use the discount code, whatever your PIN number is on your card.
Amen. Tell them the Jew podcast sent you. Maybe cut that out.
You don't want people to know you're Jewish in this climate.
Yeah.
We're
PC culture is
funny.
going too far.
It's funny, people always talk about how Jews control the weather, which is something that in this cultural climate, it's funny that the Jews are trying to change the cultural climate. What do you mean by that?
Riddle me this, Batman.
They don't change the weather, but they change the cultural climate.
That is. I feel like we talked about that a lot in Philly. I don't mean to skirt.
Was anti-Semitism on the rise as much when we were? It definitely hit a
Lightly.
boiling point. Like,
Well, yeah, there was like I don't mean to talk about
Charlottesville.
Horrible anti-Semitic things on the pod.
Let's talk about some
but
fun
God knows
anti-Semitic
my
things.
podcast talks about it. Anyway, no, like the Tree of Life synagogue shooting. That was a huge one. And then there were all
Right.
these different things. And then the other day there was the Day of Hate. Did you see that?
No,
Did that
was
happen
that-
here? In Chicago, white supremacist groups were like, this Saturday, we're going to like, if we see you, we're going to like put up propaganda, like anti-Semitic propaganda. And I was like, if I see someone doing that, I'll pepper spray them in the face. Like, yeah.
Cool.
I started carrying around mace and shit. So,
David is advocating for violence against peaceful protesters.
don't let me catch you doing it, huh? I'm like a cool parent as long as you do it in the house. Hey, put up your anti-Semitic posters in the backyard where your mother can't see.
That's funny. It's great.
Anyway, yeah, no, that all that shit. But then I think that was a thing. I talk about this with people a lot about writing process, where I used to come off stage at Fergie's and at different shows that we would do, and I would be like God damn it, I can't believe it. I felt like I wasn't writing in voice with myself. And we would talk about this a lot. Like I felt like I was writing all this stuff about being a Jew and things like this.
Right.
And it felt like very and this was no one's fault in Philadelphia, but it felt like a lot of people were like, that's David. He's like the Jewish comedian. Mm-hmm. And that was very stifling. And now, like, I was thinking about it as I was driving up here. I was like, no one in Chicago thinks of me that way, except for Michael Serio. Okay. No, he's a very, very nice person. We just give each other agita all the time. Yeah, like in The Godfather when they're baptizing the baby, and Michael Serio out in Chicago, he's being beaten over the head with a lead pipe. He is a nice person, but we go back and forth. He's Italian, I'm Jewish. We always give each other shit about it. Anyway, that thinking about like writing and like Chicago writing is like I know that we weren't actually talking about it earlier, but I wanted to come back to of the joy of writing was really the thing that was revealed to me. Like I started this thing at I don't mean to plug my own thing, but like
please, no, I'm going to ask you for plugs. Yeah.
It's a free thing that I'm running in Chicago. Is on Tuesday nights at 7:30 at the Annoyance Comedy Theater. I do just an open writing table where anyone could come by because I saw that. I mean, I felt like it was a great need. It's a double-edged sword, right? Of like there's nothing in Chicago that I felt like was to practice comedy that's free. I mean, there's like open mics and stuff, but there's no like structured creative time where it's just like sitting with people and being communal about things.
Oh, that's nice.
And then also, but at the same time, like you are always someone that I thought was very good at like writing. At least it seemed semi-diligently, and like. From there, it like maybe that's not the case, but like I do think that like
don't shatter the illusion.
Yeah, and I see all the paper right off screen here. No, I had it where I was like, well, if I start this thing, I've got to go every Tuesday at 7:30.
Then you force yourself to write,
and then I have to sit down, and then people are there and they expect me to be writing with them. Sometimes they use it just to finagle gossip out of people, but most of the time I'm writing jokes about Megatron or something like that.
Amazing,
you know? Yeah. But that is really been a wonderful thing of like coming in. I mean, meditation was the first thing. Like in COVID, was like coming into something as practice is such a beautiful thing, and then to see it like deepening yourself and centering yourself, that's wonderful. And then that extends that like archetype. Extends onto other things, and then you start loving writing. You know, you're like it's starting to flow.
So now you're the meditation comedian.
What?
You're the meditation comedian now?
No. I'm not doing jokes about meditation. For sure.
Do you feel like is there something that you feel like you are known for now? Not that like or more of a collage, a more overall voice. No, and a good like. Do you feel like people know you? People know you.
They know me as the guy who wags his penis around at all the shows. No. Somebody the other day they said, "Hey, I recognize you from a show," and I went, "Oh, thank you very much. So like, good to see you." I would chat with them, and then I was like, "What did you remember about the show?" Just because it's an interesting thing, and they were like, "You're very dark," and I feel like it's getting darker all the time. It's getting into very deep, dark, brooding space, but like things that are fun to like pick up, hold, and look at. You know, like subjects that I've always wanted to like. Break open or that feel like not necessarily controversial, but are like things that are in a space between points of comfort. Like I just started doing this joke about the ability to euthanize dogs if they're too old.
Cool.
And
I've got some jokes about killing dogs.
I'm
sorry. What you got?
The joke is about like it's very new, but it's like sometimes we see a puppy. And that's great. It reminds us of life, you know. Its name is Gizmo or whatever it is. And then sometimes you see a dog and you're like, get it the fuck out of here. So I say we're going to institute a system like a yellow card in soccer, where if two people see a dog that they think is too old, they pull out their card and then you get to shoot the dog. That's how but I did a show. It was perfect. I did this great show, Pregnant Cigarette, in Chicago. And they had another comedian, Zoe Faster, brought her dog onto the show, and she went up with her dog right before me. And I was like, now George is a good dog, but you ever see one that's way too old? Let's kill him. But that's the thing, is that like, it's weird. I feel like that's become the thing. Like I talked to you about, I had a joke about Michael's craft store and like people going in there to buy things like for like have you ever seen like in Mindhunter, they show like the BTK killer and he's like taking photos of himself wearing like a dress with like a plastic bag over his head with like lipstick on it, like terrifying stuff. But like that has to be a part of the Michael's community is people going in there to buy like supplies for a deep dark thing. And so like I do a joke about that.
We have similar. We both, not similar, but I also have a Michael's craft store joke about conspiracy charts.
Yes.
And yours is like I'm like doing the detective side, and you're doing the serial killer side.
I just got so worried two times that I was like, am I taking Betty's joke about killing a dog and Michael's craft?
Well, you're not on Twitter, so I don't think you've seen my dog killing joke.
No, I don't.
You want to hear my dog killing joke?
Yeah, please.
A dog is a best friend you get to put down.
See, that's great. That's really fun. That's nice.
That's all it is.
It's beautiful.
I like yours too. Yeah.
It's almost like a poetry to it, you know.
It's funny.
You have got like such a flowered language. I always feel like, and you cut words out so well.
You know, I'm not cutting words out. I'm cutting ideas out.
Interesting.
You know what I mean? Like yours was longer, but it's also you got more stuff to it. It's not like it's like worse for being longer. It's
That's
like
true.
you got more parts that are
yet,
shifting.
I don't know if you. This might not be advice. I'm not going to make you say if you are envious of my style, but I'm envious of your style in that I like. Only recently,
I'll say, of course, I'm envious of other people's styles, and yours is one of them. I think it's a beautiful. I love other people's stuff. Yeah,
thing,
and your other people.
Yeah, and the other people. Like that thing of being able to write like a one-liner joke. And to me, it's not even that the structured writing. It's just it feels like the muse drops it in your head. You know, it's just like knocks you in the face.
No, it's not the muse. It's actually Cameron.
Yeah,
I look over his shoulder and I grab his notes
I steal his stuff, and then I write it in my handwriting. It's pretty good.
So I can't do bits. I just don't know how to do it.
It's not like conversational.
So I'm totally envious of people who do that.
That's the thing. Is I feel like everybody wants or should, at least it's nice to have like an emulation point across the aisle.
Yes.
And this is the thing. I don't mean to call out all of Philly comedy, but this is what Philly comedy was always missing to me. Was like helium people and fit people. They would be across the street from each other, and they would never go to each other's thing. And that was so odd to me. It's like we're all fucking goofy ass clowns.
Yeah,
you know? Would you want to go see it?
Totally. I my thoughts are that it was individuals in the scene would totally, but there were certain individuals I think at. I mean, maybe it's fine to call people out for this, but from what I had heard, there was like. Maybe somebody higher up at like Fit or something who was doing some unsavory things or something.
Absolutely.
I don't. Sure. I would call this out more specifically. I don't know who this is. I wasn't involved in Fit. But basically, like
I know who it is.
Oh, you do? Yeah. I don't know. But so from what I heard, there's like people doing cancelable stuff but weren't getting canceled.
Yeah.
And so there was like an element of
there were all kinds of things there, but I meant more like of the thing that always struck me was like the gen pop of those two theaters. But comedians that were always there, they would never like once I had worked at Helium and once I had worked at Fit, I would just run back and forth across the street all the time, and it was so much fun. And I felt like you get more things about. So if there's anyone I'm calling out today, it's people that don't expand their minds to new horizons, folks.
I guess my thought being the power structures specifically
For sure.
dissuaded against it because individuals had beef and drama, etc.
This is fair,
Yeah.
but I feel like it was
Which is stupid.
Exactly, it was something that,
Yeah.
and also like if you're a fucking intern at one of these places, like
Yeah,
it could
that's how we met, by
it
the
could
way.
overcome very easily. It is.
You were working at Helium, and
Yes.
yeah.
Yep. That was a great summer.
Well, which year was that?
That was 2016.
Really?
I had just turned 21. What a fun fucking summer that was. Oh my god. I had so many cool people.
2016 was like my first year really hitting the Philly comedy scene. Yeah, hell yeah. So I met you the first year. Hell yeah.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, that was also when I started like taking stand up from a nicer angle, a little bit. And then like, I mean, a cave had always been a thing, but it was like, I feel like to be introduced to Helium and then get to like go in and like.
Let's talk about Cave a little bit.
Yeah, please.
Cave. You guys, if anybody knows Lyle Drescher, Therapy Gecko. Him and Dave Hogshead, who now runs Sesh Comedy in the city here, used to. I don't know if anybody else was involved necessarily.
Totally at
probably
Cave?
was. Yeah.
At Cave or at Sesh?
Cave.
I could tell you everybody that was
people?
on that team. That was, I mean, Lyle and Dave, absolutely. Founders.
Right.
The team was them, Gardini, Shane Duffner, Ross Wiseman, and then there were Frank Neblett, Ben Farrell.
Shout out all these homies. I didn't know they were all running it.
They weren't running. It was that we were just. I like to consider us the team that did it. Shane Duffner, especially, who now works at Colbert.
Yeah, I was gonna say I saw him in the city.
Sweet person.
He's in New York now.
Came up and visited me in New York. Shout out to Shane. I love that guy.
But so Cave was a house. It was like a house on these because a lot of these guys were at Temple University. They were like still in college, and they started running a comedy venue out of their basement.
Out of the basement.
Which is like not just like DIY shows though. I mean, yes, they were all DIY shows, but they like eventually like booked like Mark Norman.
It got up
which is like they were like hiring like comedians.
Yeah, it
from
got up
like
to
New York.
A large point.
Yeah, and that's how they got shut down.
And then they got fucking shut the fuck down.
The landlord
saw the address
in the newspaper advertised. It was like in the newspaper, right? It's like
I think something like that. And but those shows, I mean, there were some ripping shows there, and I met really good. I met Ahmed Weinberg there. Chanel Ali did some stuff.
Oh yeah,
there was incredible stuff going.
Shout out Chanel. She's also a friend in New York now.
I'm sure. Yeah. Like and a really sweet person, and like just a very like on the ball comedian. Shout out, yeah. But like there were so many things there because it was not only was it like the rampant craziness of college crowds. Like, I feel like everybody older comedians always wax poetic about, like, used to be you could do a college crowd. You could say whatever you want, do whatever you want. And now it's the worst fucking PC-ass bullshit. And that was a show where I was like, you could go up and it was like home. It was like coming home. I mean, I really can't say enough good about it. Like, and also the empowering thing about it, and something that if someone listens to this podcast is you can make a show anywhere, and like just watching that happen. And Cave was in 3 different houses by the time we shut down, like, and from one house to the next, it kept improving upon itself and learning new things. And it was run by 2 incredible like production minds as well as comedians, but like it was just a wonderful community, like and people would come and they would do experimental weird and you would see things you had never seen before. And that
fun stuff.
It was gone.
It's like because it would be in the basement, and then you'd have like a house party.
Yeah,
a typical college house party.
Yeah. Oh God.
Yeah, hell yeah.
Smoked a lot of doobies. That was a sweet time.
Do you okay? So now I do want to jump back.
Yeah, please.
Now I'm thinking because we're kind of waxing poetic.
Yeah, I know.
A little bit about the old Philly.
Chair.
Yeah, it's like the old Philly scene, but just pre-pandemic, I guess. Before I get to Chicago, I am going to come back to Chicago, but I do want to say, pre-pandemic Philly comedy scene was like there was Cave, there was good comedy theater, Shamu Boogaloo was still happening a little bit. That was like another backyard show that was a lot of fun.
Yeah,
where people would Like I did it one time where some of the people would dress up in diapers and like walk around.
Oh yeah, they were the house babies.
The house babies.
Yeah. Teddy Hansen and Ben Farrell and somebody else. I think it was Matt.
Sean Gardini, I remember. I've got a photo of all them guys in diapers.
Yeah. Oh, sorry. Oh, I'm sorry. That's my medication timer. I don't mean to.
You gotta take your meds.
I already did it.
Good. Sorry, I take them on camera.
The thing.
Yeah, but, Chicago. How's Chicago?
Chicago is really cool. There's been some like really crazy shows. It's hard to summarize, but this is the thing that I've always said, like that I am still in awe of it, simply in terms of every time that I think that I've met every comedian in Chicago, like that I've seen, like that my foot has like touched the bottom of the pool. Like the floor opens up and there's like 200 more comedians and they're all doing something insane and way different and like very unique stylized comedy that's like ready and for prepping. I mean, if New York and LA are like the spots, you know, like, and I think that Chicago is the best incubator.
It's the biggest scene without immediate industry.
Right. And that's the thing, is that the world of that I think is falling away. Like you could work Chicago and be a working comedian, which is good from what I've heard. I'm not, but like you can work at a level where you like get enough shows to like live off of. And then industry goes there. I mean, we have JFL showcases and things like that.
No, I'm not saying I'm not saying it has. Like, I'm not like
no. I don't
New York
think
is industry, shit, but it's like it has that incubator quality. It's the biggest incubator. Like Philly's an incubator. Chicago has a bigger comedy. Like Philly's so close physically to New York that once you're incubated a little bit, a lot of people leave.
Right. Well, there is something about Chicago where it's like it's so big and such a good incubator that it breeds. It's just breeding things perfectly. That I think that things that come out of it, and this is not from an expert by any means. I've only been there like 2 years now. Like the joy of it is to just watch people. Like, what if we did a show where we're all dressed as turtles and like we're amazing. Laying eggs on stage, the eggs and jelly beans inside of the audience has to come up and eat all the jelly beans. Like
the goal is to be funny.
Exactly.
Like the goal
is to be funny, but it's like
right.
But like to me, yes, it is to be funny, but I feel like there is a second element to it now that I'm, at least for me personally, where I'm like, it's also about the evoking of emotion. I feel like we've talked about, like, not to nerd out on it, but like there's an essay that I love by James Baldwin called Mass Culture and the Creative Artist, where James Baldwin, I mean, I'm going to like summarize it very hard, like Cliff Notes it, but like he talks about art moving you out of a space of comfort, and in that discomfort you're learning a lot, and then your sand settles back at the bottom of the glass, but it's in new places and you've changed. And
that's cool.
Art evoking change. And so like
this motherfucker said, sometimes you learn stuff.
Yeah. Sometimes we do be learning. And I like that. Like I started, like, if I did that, like I've been doing shows about like dead dogs and stuff, and like I have a joke now about pedophiles. Ooh. And like talking about but it's not to humanize pedophiles, but it is to talk about how pedophiles are humans, and to be like, the joke is, I mean, one of the pieces of it is like you ever been on the bus and two buses pass each other and they slow down and the bus drivers wave hi to each other, just as if to say like, I'm a bus driver as well. And I go, do you think pedophiles do that? Like, so that's like the basis of it. But that,
in
like,
two vans.
Exactly. Right. Like with wood shutters and shit. And like that thing, I did that at a show recently, and I was saying it, and someone in the audience, they didn't laugh. They went, ah! They just like made this like exasperated note almost. And it was really interesting to hear them, because comedy is something, it's like you know how like dopamine is like, it reacts to different like centers in your brain by grabbing onto something and bringing it somewhere else. Like I think that humor is often a vehicle that becomes linked with something else. So humor can be linked, like you think about like Eddie Pepitone is like a terror like
comedy horror.
Comedy horror almost. And like that links with that and it moves ahead. Or like Joe Pera is like a satisfaction and peace comedian.
Zen.
Like a very Zen comedian, right? And so like or like an absurdist element from like Carmen Christopher or something like that. Or like Maria Bamford is like a mental health loving spaces comedian. And like that is what is interesting to me about comedy is like that it becomes linked with something that, I mean, that most people think of as voice, right? And then that propels it into new space. So like, even if you're a comedian that does like fucking crazy ass,
like defining a new genre by being funny in a different space.
Well, that's the thing is, it's like, I mean, you're a good example. You're someone who has a very unique voice and you're like a good perspective on things. but then at the same time, it's like that we live in a wonderful time for comedy, for self-expression overall, but also just for comedy. It's like you can find the audience. Like, not everyone likes jokes about dead dogs,
right? Oh, I'm aware.
But and God knows we're learning it. Not everybody likes that, but when you do find someone that likes it, they love it, and they didn't know that they've been looking for it for a long time, but they really have been, and they're so excited that they finally fucking found it.
Oh yeah,
that's always my favorite thing.
I'll speak to this in terms of the eating bugs stuff. I was like doing a lot of material about eating bugs, as the people know.
Yeah.
And I did not expect people to like that as much as they do.
Yeah.
And like people really fucked with it in a way that I was like, people don't want to eat the bugs, but people really like hearing about it. Yeah, like they find it really interesting. I was like, that's cool.
How many people you've like tipped the scales for that lead them into this? Like,
yeah. Yeah. Well, I think a lot of people expect, they're like, all right, I'm going to have, when they first see me, my intro being like, hey, I happen to have Tourette's, blah, blah, blah. Like, I think people are like, all right, time for me to have my mind expanded specifically about Tourette's syndrome.
Right.
And I'm like, and I think I do hopefully do that for them a little bit. But I'm also like, I'm like, no.
It's not about that.
Nope, it's not about that.
You know, I have a friend of mine. He's a comedian, and he has we were talking about, he has heart disease. And he's like getting into stand up again after not having done it for a long time. And he goes, he does the opposite, where his like closing joke right now is about having heart disease. And he goes, because that whole thing at the top, I don't want to have this thing hanging over my head of, because they know that I have heart disease, it's worth laughing at. You know, and at the end of it, that's when I mean, I still want, it's part of me, and I want to have my identity out there. But like, I don't want it to be a thing of like, everybody's like, oh, look at
laughing
look at the sick person. But actually, I wanted to ask you about.
Well, people don't consider me sick.
No, I'm not saying. I'm not. That's not what I'm saying.
It's a bit
I wanted to ask you about something else, of like, at JFL.
Not familiar.
It's an old friend of mine, John Frederick Leibovitz, and he at JFL,
Canadian Jew.
I had never. I've seen you do stand up hundreds of times. And it was the first time. I mean,
people clapped up top.
People clapped at the top, and you went, no, don't do that, which got a great response. Right? But that was an interesting. Had that ever happened to you before?
It's rare. It's really rare. It happened to me the other night, actually.
Interesting.
And I handled it a lot more poorly.
Big crowd, small crowd?
Small crowd.
Interesting.
He was like, so I mean, because now I know it can happen. I'm like a little. I am prepared for it. I'm like kind of like, don't do that or whatever. But when this crowd clapped, I kind of like leaned into it a little bit and kind of like was like, shut the fuck up, and I kind of lost them a little bit. I was like, shut the fuck up, don't, and I yelled at them. As like I was trying to be funny, but then I think they like one lady was like, I was like, why are you clapping? And why the hell are you clapping? And like one lady was like, we're trying to be supportive. And then I like had to then because somebody actually responded, I actually had to go down this path of being. I was like, it's like, well, I don't know. I ended up having to be like, look, I understand and I appreciate that,
right?
But don't view it as like a thing where I'm being you're to be supportive. To assume that I'm like doing something inherently brave assumes that I should be embarrassed.
Right.
You know what I mean? And
Right.
I'm not, bitch. I'm here to talk about killing my dog.
Who's getting ready for jokes about poop and farts?
I'm literally
fart,
about
bugs.
to talk about eating poop. Please.
Yeah, right. Get ready. I had this when I started telling people that I was queer. Was queer, and now I'm straight again. Dude. Thank you, creatine. I started. I have this bit where I tell people that I'm queer, and I like to introduce myself at the top of the show. I'm a queer person. Any other queers in the audience? And people, I mean, at the shows I do, the people go, woo, and I go, get them, boys. And like I pretend like they're about to be attacked. And then I'm like, no, I'm kidding. And then I go, I do want to address a stereotype about queer people. Let's end the stereotype that all queer people are fun, because I'm not fun. And then I go into that a little bit, but for
You're
a
fun.
while,
What the hell is this bullshit?
well, it's like I'm fun, like to us.
Oh, sure.
Like I'm
sure.
not like, let's go down to the Velveteen Panther and get a lap dance.
Oh, I see.
I'm
what you're
like,
saying. Yeah.
I'm like, what if we analyze the Harry Potter books from a biblical perspective?
I'm like, yeah, let's do it.
Yeah, exactly. That's the thing. I'm fun
Right.
I'm fun to people.
Other fucking
I'm fun to people in
nerds.
this apartment. Like like. But for a while, I would like I don't like clapter, and I see some comedians sometimes where they depend on clapter. And when I started saying, I would go, I'm a queer person, and people would go, woo, and I would go, no. I wanna reassure you, I'm
not fun.
I was like, I'm a white Jewish person from an upper middle class background. No bravery was involved in coming out as queer. Like I didn't do anything brave. Like everybody immediately was like, oh yeah, that's fine. Like come back to shopping at the food co-op with your grandmother. Like it was fine. So like that is one of those things where it's like I feel like the criticism from like the right wing of comedy always is like, it's like, oh, it's like personal politicking. And like you're like, I feel like bringing yourself onto the stage is fine, but it's like, if that's the anchor and crutch of the thing and it's just filled by clapping, at least I can only speak for myself. I am not interested.
Oh, totally.
In
Yeah. It threw me off. I mean, the clapping at JFL did throw me off. I mean, I guess I don't know. I did not expect them to do that because it is rare, but it made more sense because it's a larger crowd. I guess like they're kind of like clapping or whatever. But yeah, it only happened like maybe a few times before that. But it is something that I'm like.
I was rewatching some of your stuff, and
do you have clips out?
Do I?
Yeah, you
I
got
have a
clips.
clip or two.
Okay, yeah.
Nothing crazy.
I gotta watch some more Feinberg content.
It's the album will come out soon. Hopefully
Hell yeah, Dave
cut that
just
shit out.
recorded an album.
Yeah.
Filmed an album or recorded?
I filmed,
Awesome,
recorded everything.
awesome.
They got audio and video.
That's what's up. That's what I'm talking about. But some people only do audio, and I'm like, just put a camera in the room. You know what I mean?
Yeah, the camera. I mean, the camera is more going to be for like clips and stuff. And
Oh yeah.
I think that this album, at least this album, is going to just be.
What's the name?
It's called David Feinberg Plays the Hits, and it's really cool. They did it based on the. I got the Anti-Flower Show movement. It was great.
What?
A graffiti artist out of Philly, and they put together this thing of based on Frank Sinatra live at the Sands, and it's this really cool picture of him like in silhouette, and he based the album. I mean, the album art isn't out yet, and maybe I don't know when this will come out, but like
Like a day or two.
Okay, well, when it does come out, you'll see that like it's like that album artwork, but like kind of fucked up, and I'm on it like going like this at the crowd. It's super cool, and so that's been really exciting. Of like I'll be able to cut something out of that. Finally, feed the beast of Instagram content. Yeah,
fuck.
I get so lazy about that shit.
Oh,
It's
same.
nuts.
Yeah, I don't know. But I mean, it's like I don't know. I'm lazy about it, but I do have just like the backlog of the videos.
Yeah.
So it's like I'm able to do it once in a while, and then I'm like, oh shit, I should do this more.
That's that same thing of like being nervous about being like someone will read my diary. There's a part of me like I'm a big Grateful Dead fan, and you listen to like all their recorded material that's like free and on the internet, and I'm always like, Well, I don't know if you have this mentality, but I always think about like after my death, people will like listen to these albums and be like, he was the great, like you're the Van Gogh of stand-up comedy.
Yeah.
It's such a, I mean, it's another like self-centered notion, but
yeah.
it is one of those things where it's like this is like every time you go up and like you record it, it's like permanently there.
I just took down my 3 earliest sets and I'm going to put them back up with me providing commentary.
Interesting.
I've got a set I had up from like 2017, and I was like, I want people to see this, but I don't want people to see this devoid of context, as if I'm presenting it like this is jokes I still like and am a fan of. So I'm gonna put it back up and but kind of like go through the video and be like, Did
you say this is jokes I stole?
No.
Okay.
Jokes that I still like or whatever.
Oh, still like.
I don't know what I said exactly. No. I just jokes that I don't like anymore.
Right.
From like my first year doing stand up, or like first year and a half or whatever. It's like share the video. Like I want people to know that I have the like let me think of an example. There's like a got the foil method joke. Remember that one?
Yeah, when two people get married.
Hyphenated last names. They should use the foil method.
I love that joke.
I appreciate that. I don't do it that much anymore, or at least it's kind of got like a math flavor to it. I mean, it's math.
It is math.
It worked well at the engineering college, sure.
Right.
It doesn't always work
right.
in rooms where it's also kind of like annoying aesthetically.
People haven't used the foil method in 15 years.
Exactly. So I want to like be like, this joke worked in this video, sure, but it doesn't normally.
That's also that is a funny idea to do like football style commentary on your own set.
That's the plan.
A really great
idea.
Yeah. That's really funny
because I want people to know. I want to still have that record of like here's
of course
that video.
I made this. Here's the thing that I created.
And that joke did well in that video, but there's jokes that totally bombed in those. You know what I mean? That's like.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well, that is the thing. Is like I feel like if the wind isn't behind the sail of a joke, I don't want to do it. On the album, most of the reason that I wanted to do this album was so I could have like a point where I was like, all right, I no longer need to like do these. And some of them I still do just to like have a closer or something like that. But some of them, like, I'm like,
you're losing the wind.
Yeah, you're like, I don't have the motivation to do this one. And I feel like that's a good thing is like, it happened, it's gone, it's been cataloged. You can go listen to it if you want. But now you're going to go see, when you go see me, I want it to be something that you haven't maybe seen before.
New stuff.
Well, exactly.
Yeah.
Well, there's always in Talking Funny when Jerry Seinfeld is talking to Chris Rock and he talks about, he's like, when you see Prince, now this dates the memory a little
bit. You want to see the new stuff.
Do you want to see the new stuff or do you want to see the catalog?
Right.
And I
want to see the hits.
I think that for me, like when you see David Feinberg, you want to see the new stuff.
Yeah.
The things that I'm excited about,
No, I feel you.
Yeah.
I mean, my chicken legs joke doesn't work as much anymore because I'm not excited about it.
It cannot.
And I can, and like I can feel myself saying it wrong.
Oh, interesting.
I'm just like not into it as I just am like,
yeah.
I'm like, this is it's like one of the first jokes I had that worked. And I'm like, am I really still telling my first joke that worked? Like, I don't want to keep.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
I have that joke about going on a date to Salad Works, and I did that. I've been doing that for years. And like,
is that when you walked out of the woods?
Walked out of the woods.
Oh, that joke.
Yeah, it's a fun joke. But
before I ever saw it on stage, when we drove to Downington, you just told me that story. Before it was even a stage bit.
It is a crazy thing. I told it to my mom the other day. And
tell it for the cast a little bit.
Yeah, sure. So it's the joke basically is I talk about like going to like the place where I was raised and like seeing the place where you went on your first date ever. And I think about like the way that it worked was that I was 15. I didn't have a driver's license, so my house was here. And the Salad Works that I went to on my first date was here. And in the middle was this strip of the woods. And there's almost no worse life available than being a 15-year-old girl about to go on a date on to a Salad Works. But it becomes a lot worse when your date walks out of the woods. And then I go, yeah! I like walk out on this. And there's a lot of pictures of me at Cave 1 doing that with like my hand. And I'm a sucker for a joke where you get to yell or scream or make a big noise. So that was like the first time I got to do that. And that was
Hell
really
yeah,
nice.
hell yeah.
But like I wanna kind of retire those kinds of things.
Yeah.
Not retire, like every now and again I'm like, hey, you know what'd be good? And or like a moment happens on stage and I'm like if someone says something about Panera bread.
Oh, it's
That's
like,
going to
yeah.
SaladWorks, baby. And, so that's fun. And also, normally it's good if I'm talking to a room about like, I started doing I'm still working on this, but I'll throw it on here. But like, I started doing a thing where I would ask the crowd if anyone was on a date, and even on the album, when I was recording the album, no one said yes. And so I got to like call the audience virgins and losers and so like for a little while, and that was fun, but it's like also I get to be like, if someone is on a date, I check in with both of them that they know that they're on a date, and sometimes something crazy happens. Like I've had times my friend Cotton was sitting next to this lady, and I go, anybody on a date? And she went, are we on a date? And I was like, I got Cotton, not laid. But it was very exciting.
You got him on. You got him to be
I got a sexy little context.
You teed up for your friend.
Yeah. I helped a homie.
Oh, we're at 56 minutes.
Oh my God.
So we'll go to part 2 soon, which is on the Patreon.
Oh, sure.
Which is only $4 a month. It's the cost of purchasing me a sandwich.
Exactly.
Buy me
We just bought
half a tiny sandwich.
We just bought fucking bagels for like 5 times that
Yeah,
much.
that's true. They were like $25.
Like crazy.
It's like $20
bagels.
and then you tip.
This fucking town.
Like a bunch of money.
New York, you used to be for poor people. Anyway.
Expensive ass bagel place.
Anyway. Part two.
Usually the bagels are
jazzy.
cheaper. I got a nice bagel.
Yeah.
It's my boys in town.
Yeah.
Well,
you got to celebrate with a New York
gotta get a
bagel.
damn. And then we got some sody pop.
Oh yeah, I'm rocking 3 beverages over here.
Same.
I will reveal all 3 beverages on the Patreon portion of the podcast.
Do you have any plugs?
Yes.
Yeah.
So from the jump, I mean, a lot of these things are going to be in Chicago, but my album, David Feinberg Plays the Hits, is going to be available first on Bandcamp. And then it'll eventually be on Spotify, and then it'll be free through the Internet Archive. That's how I'm gonna tear it down over the course of a while. But April 22nd, that's going to be coming out. There's going to be a nice release party. And I bet if you ask nicely in my DMs at David Feinberg Online on Instagram, I'll probably just give you the album.
Can't wait to hear it, man.
Yeah,
Fuck.
me too. I'm pumped about it. And then
I remember that one.
Yeah. Everybody is going to be like, hey,
Visually
give me
imagine.
that. And then what else? Tuesday nights are I do my open writing table at the Annoyance Comedy Theater. If you're ever in Chicago, that's at 7:30. It goes all the way till 9 o'clock. And then there's the open stage at the Annoyance, which is also very fun. Shout out to the Annoyance Comedy Theater. Love them. And then
this is nice. Usually the plugs for people are usually like New York based, so it's good to get.
Yeah.
If you're in Chicago,
if you're ever in Chicago,
or bothered Feinberg.
Yeah, if you ever want. Also, if you need a place to crash, please let me know. No, but that's real. And then on Wednesday nights, I run an open jam at the Otherworld Theater where you could come on stage. You could do whatever you want as long as it's not like racist, sexist, transphobic, xenophobic, anything like that.
I'll probably be in Chicago in
Yeah.
July. I think I might be doing the Zanies and possibly the Laugh Factory a little bit.
That'll be a sweet
so
time.
that'll be cool. I'll keep you people posted. In the meantime, though, just follow Feinberg on stuff.
Yeah, please.
Yeah.
I'd love to meet some new people and
Take him up on crashing at his house.
Yeah. Take me up on hanging out.
Somebody actually take him up on that. That'd be really
That'd
funny.
be totally fine. I've got a futon.
I'll probably take you up on that.
Yeah. I think you're on that list.
All right, man. Yeah, so we'll go to part 2. We'll take a quick break and then we'll jump back in. All right. Bye.